New nuclear systems are being designed with innovative methods in mind. Through Begin, they're making use of a nuclear fuel cycle, which includes everything from ore extraction to waste management. To ensure that future generations have the potential to develop without endangering the present's requirements, systems are evaluated in terms of their sustainability.
There can be no denying today that the Industrial Revolution has ushered in a degree of widespread affluence that was previously unimaginable in many nations. However, the early impact of the Industrial Revolution divided authors significantly.
When a fund owns bonds from firms or other issuers, it is exposed to credit risk, which means that if those companies or other issuers default on their commitments, they will have to pay the fund's creditors. Insured bonds and U.S. Treasury bonds are two examples of low-risk funds. Interest rate risk is included in practically all bond funds. This indicates that the market value of bonds held by these funds will decrease as interest rates rise. Some research tasks are more suited to some types of approach than others. A questionnaire or survey is more suited to quantitative research, but an interview or focus group is better suited to qualitative research, as an example.
Lakes and oceans have a lot in common, yet they're also very distinct. Both are bodies of water, however oceans are much larger salt water masses, whilst lakes are much smaller freshwater basins. Lakes are typically bordered by land, whereas continents are surrounded by oceans. Both are home to flora and animals.
When a fund owns bonds from firms or other issuers, it is exposed to credit risk, which means that if those companies or other issuers default on their commitments, they will have to pay the fund's creditors. Insured bonds and U.S. Treasury bonds are two examples of low-risk funds. Interest rate risk is included in practically all bond funds. This indicates that the market value of bonds held by these funds will decrease as interest rates rise. Two-thirds of the population say they have had nightmares that keep repeating the same scenes or events. A common occurrence in these nightmares is being hunted, discovering oneself nude in public or caught in the center of a natural calamity, or having your teeth knocked out from under you.
While OPM was the primary target of the cyber attack, data from practically every federal organization was taken. According to U.S. authorities, Chinese hackers were responsible for the incident.
Although introvert personality types differ from one another on various grounds, the major difference between the two is their source of rejuvenation. While for extroverts, this may mean interaction or excursions with friends and family, the same may mean reading a book or listening to music.
Neuroscientists believe that prolonged exposure to loud noise affects the brain's processing of speech, making it more difficult to discriminate speech sounds. The hair cells in the ear, which are responsible for picking up sound, are permanently damaged when exposed to extremely loud sounds. Noise-induced hearing loss occurs when the hair cells in the inner ear are permanently destroyed.
Between April and June 2016, 5 ozone ascents were made at Bharati Station, Indian Mission, in Antarctica. Leading scientists at Bharati Station feared that the Montreal Accord had failed to control the emission of ozone-depleting gases in the atmosphere as stratospheric temperatures dropped to -82.24 C on June 20, 2016, indicating the formation of stratospheric clouds, which could lead to ozone depletion in the stratosphere.
A burning sensation in the stomach is the most prevalent sign of a peptic ulcer. Stomach acid and an empty stomach exacerbate the agony. Taking an acid-reducing drug or eating particular foods that buffer stomach acid can typically reduce the discomfort, but it may return. Between meals and at night, the discomfort may be severe. There were fundamental economic and political disagreements between the Soviet Union and United States after the Cold War broke up the brief alliance against Nazi Germany. Vietnam, Indonesia, and the Congo were all still Western possessions in 1947, when the Cold War was just beginning.
Banks that lend money without requiring a deposit make a lot of money, but most individuals aren't aware of this fact. Banking systems across the world employ fractional reserve banking. According to this provision, banks are required to maintain a portion of their deposits in the reserve bank. The survey found that the statistical chances of someone from a poor background being accepted at one of the country's most respected universities are far lower than those of a student from a wealthy family. This means that the inequalities in society are likely to be passed down from one generation to the next.
Patriotism is defined as a strong attachment to one's homeland. This virtue motivates citizens to strive selflessly for the betterment of their country. True patriots make up a truly developed country. In other words, patriotism is prioritizing the country's interests over one's own. Patriotism is more visible during times of war. Furthermore, it contributes to the nation's strengthening. There are additional aspects of patriotism to consider. It's a common theme in Plato's dialogues that the quality of a father's involvement in his sons has a significant bearing on how well they turn out. Since family was a crucial part of a boy's identity in ancient Athens, Plato frequently refers to his characters as having paternal or fraternal links. As a child, Socrates viewed himself as the son of his mother, a midwife, who had given birth to him.
New scientific thinking may be seen in the universal gravitation finding, which demonstrates all of its hallmarks. Newton sets the stage for the discovery by drawing an analogy between the Moon's behavior and that of pebbles falling to the Earth.
Public relations and advertising are highly transdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and creative professions. There are a variety of divisions inside advertising firms, including creative, research, media, traffic, planning, and account management, among others.
Whether we like it or not, technology is an essential concept to learn. Because it changes so quickly, children are better off learning about it sooner. It is a primary part of every industry, and there is no way around it. These days, technology means more than just learning basic computing skills.